Well, good morning to you folks. Hope you had a great weekend. It is Monday morning, and you find me here at Jegs on 11th Avenue, downtown Columbus, Ohio. As per the course, most of you guys have been out playing with your toys and probably breaking things over the weekend, and that's what brings me back to Jegs. Hot rod season is finally upon us, and I've got more pieces and parts to buy, which means swing into Jegs, talk to Uncle Terry. Now, one of the things I'm actually here for is something you're going to not see over on this channel. It's going to be over on the Lucore Automotive channel. We've been working on a 1968 Plymouth Barracuda for a customer of ours. Did a ATK crate motor on it, long tube headers, whole 9 yards, and it is doing well. Well, at least it was doing really well. Made very, very good power. It was on the dyno. It was basically ready to ship. We needed to button up a couple of things. And then something bad happened. You'll have to go over to that channel to be able to watch that whole saga. I think we're like 13 or 14 videos into that build at this point in time. So that's the main reason that I'm over here. But I also want to talk to Uncle Terry, since I'm over here, about what's been going on with my little Lincoln Navigator project. And he's a Ford guy, and he actually owns the Ford version of this exact same truck. He has an Expedition with the 5.4 in it with these notorious spark plugs. These little jubbers. And the reason I bought this truck, for the most part, is for my lovely lady to be able to drive and do crafty things. She does upcycling and vintage clothing stuff. She goes to a lot of markets and that kind of stuff, so she needs to be able to have something that will haul a lot of stuff in it. So I need a reliable vehicle that has a lot of storage in it, hence the Lincoln Navigator. Now, maybe not reliable, but it's got a lot of storage space. In a previous video, you guys saw me replace the number 2 spark plug, and that was a dead miss. Like as soon as we bought the truck, and it immediately had that misfire, we knew that it needed that, and that is this spark plug here. Can I show you that? Focus. So there's no strap to that. There's also no center to it. Which is really annoying. That's not how a spark plug is supposed to be. This truck has 137,000 miles on it. It's got new coils on it, or new coils on it. We're thinking they're Duralast, according to what I've seen in the comments. There's a blue D on the side of them. And we replaced that spark plug. The other spark plug that was in the number 1 cylinder, number 2 was the one that was missing. The one that was in number 1, we also pulled out, and it looks okay, to be honest with you. It looks fine. The strap is on the top, electrode's still there, like everything is fine. So, yippee skippy, we got a win. Let's keep on running down the road. And I got it about another 150 miles or so. And then Sunday, I had another misfire pop up, and it just started bucking and being pissed, flashing a check engine light, and ended up getting it, limped it back to the shop and scanned the codes, and it had a cylinder 5 misfire. And this is the plug that came out of cylinder 5. You can see half that bridge is gone, and it looks like it's, I don't know, maybe melting down? Let's see if I can get a better shot for you here. See how that looks? So this is what the full plug is supposed to look like. And that's the one that just came out of cylinder 5. And that's the one that came out of cylinder 2. So my question and concern is, why is it melting these plugs? I've never run E3 spark plugs before on anything I've ever owned. But a lot of people do. They sell a lot of spark plugs. And realistically speaking, these are 100,000 mile plugs. And I believe the ones that originally came in that truck were 100,000 mile plugs. So what gives here? What's going on where it's melting the tips off of these plugs? Is there something else that I need to know about? So while Uncle Terry is back there shopping for me something on the racks, I'm going to ask him if he's run into anything along the lines with these 5.4s. And if he can give me any advice, because what I don't want to do is just to keep throwing spark plugs at this thing. I'm obviously going to replace all 8 of them. I just didn't have the chance to at the moment that I had it. But what I'm seeing where these are coming up, you know, another 100 miles, I'm going to cook another spark plug and it's going to literally burn the tip off the thing. Is there something else that's possibly generating that problem? Because as 100,000 mile spark plugs, and the original ones were 100,000 miles, and I've only got 137,000 miles on the truck, it wouldn't make sense that these things should be anywhere near worn out. Even in the best case scenario, the person who owns this truck before me probably didn't replace the plugs until maybe 80,000 miles on it. So these have got 50,000 miles possibly on them at most. And they shouldn't be burnt up to the point where they're literally where they are. So we're going to ask Uncle Terry if he maybe has experienced some of this before. And otherwise, how about you 5.4 3-valve Triton guys? Are there any more of you guys that are out there that have run into this? If you know what's going on with this thing, drop it in the comment section below. Let me know. We'll see. Terry should be up here shortly. He's a little bit of a teaser, by the way. All right, 5.4 Ford guy. Explain to me what I'm seeing here.
I'm seeing death and destruction.
So this is the plug that came out of 2.
Right.
That's the one that we knew had a dead miss when I bought the truck.
Right. That pretty well explains that.
Put a new Motorcraft spark plug in that hole. Life is good. No big deal. Put one in 1 and 2. This is the plug that came out of 1. That's the way it's supposed to look.
Right.
Drove it for
Unlike this one.
200 miles. Yesterday, as I was driving to go pick Katrina up, it started bucking and missing and pissed. Picked her up, got the truck loaded, got back, limped it back to the shop, pulled that out of cylinder 5. And as you can see, it don't look good.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of E3s.
Yeah.
I mean, because Ford stuff, you should, in my opinion, you should always run Autolite plugs or Motorcraft plugs.
Yes, I put Motorcrafts back in everything.
Yeah, perfect. These, I don't like the way they do that, because you end up with a terminally weak point right
in
there, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
and that's what happens. If it gets the least bit of garbage on it, a good thing about E3s are supposed to be a self-cleaning plug. Sometimes I don't see that happen. You see how mashed that one is?
Yeah. And I did not drop that.
Yeah, I know you didn't. That seems to be one of the problems with their stuff. I think what happened is it got really, really hot, and once this bent over, this one became in the bind. Of course, it came off right there, and went out your exhaust.
Right.
After dancing on top of the piston for a little while.
Maybe.
Yeah. Went out your exhaust.
We're not looking borescope. We're not looking.
No.
Don't look.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Don't look.
No, but I guarantee you that's exactly what happened to it.
So my concern is, this is a 137,000 mile truck. 100,000 mile plugs probably came in the truck. So usually you don't replace them until they start getting pissed.
Right. Usually whatever you put in there is going to last another 100,000 miles unless you have something catastrophic happen.
So that's my concern is there something else going on here?
No, and what could have happened is when this one went away, where these parts are right here, ended up right here, and
it's a different bank.
It'll go across.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what'll happen, because the intake manifold's not all one way. It's 180-degree intake manifold.
It is directly opposable.
So went across, when it came apart,
it did some damage to
that.
Could be.
That could have been what happened too. But that would explain that how it bent. But because it's 5.4s don't have an overabundance of valve clearance to start with, especially if you start putting chunks of metal in there.
Right.
And
right. Yeah.
But I think,
because we don't know where the whole tip of this one went.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No
idea.
Yeah. Hopefully, it didn't end up back on that side.
Well, and that's the thing that I'm trying to, I don't want to end up. I'm trying to keep this very budget friendly,
right,
and not spend a pile of money on this.
No.
But I also don't want to just keep throwing parts at it and parts at it and parts at it.
No, I don't think you're throwing parts at it. I think you're doing the right thing. I would just go ahead and change them all.
Yeah.
And be done.
I'm going to do that
because I think that's and they probably went to the 100,000 plus miles before they decided to change them.
Right.
And then you got, and as nice as the threads look on these, I don't know what happened, but I mean they look really nice because evidently they didn't have any problem getting them out, which is good. What year miles that?
05.
05. Yeah, that's right in the year.
Yeah, right.
So it's but the threads look nice, so you shouldn't have.
And they came out fine.
Yeah.
I mean they're not in there real hard.
Couldn't have been in there that long.
And that's my thing that really bugs me.
Yeah, you put a set of motocross auto lights in there, and you're good to go. Shit, man, with 100,000 miles, or what is it, 127?
137,000
miles. That motor's practically brand new. I've got the same motor in that Expedition right back there. It's got 307,000 miles on it now.
Yeah.
Changed spark plugs twice.
And that was my thing, was like, I can't imagine somebody's done these spark plugs that long ago.
Mm-hmm. No.
That it would burn up the service life of a plug.
No.
There's no way.
It didn't. It didn't. It has other nefarious things going on, and I think that's what happened. If this one came apart like we think it did, that one came apart like we think it did. Like I said, if 180 degree intake, it'll go right across. So you might have got part of that might have gone in there, or even a chunk of the porcelain, whatever, because you only found.
Well, and what happened to the other piece? That's true. That's true.
So that went in there and bent it. So
that could be.
Yeah. So that could have been very well what happened.
In which case, I may still have a piece of porcelain dancing around in that.
Probably not after that.
How long does it take to destroy a piece of porcelain and burn it up?
Not long. I mean, it's glass. It's glass.
It's going to end up as a piston coating on the top.
That's what it would do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you don't know where that piece was, and what could have happened, is when you pulled that plug out, that piece was right there. It fell in the hole when you were moving around trying to get your plug back out. You plug in, it fell in the hole. So now you had that piece in there. So you crank it up, intake valve opens up, it goes that way, exhaust goes this way.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, my concern is I just don't want to be.
No, I don't think you will be. I think you put a set of good plugs in there, I don't think you have any more problems.
All right.
I mean, like I said, I've
never owned one of these, so that's why I'm curious. Like, I've owned the 4.6s.
They're fantastic motors. The 5.4 is so much better than the 4.6. So much better. I mean, that's why big trucks are. That's the optional motor on all 4 trucks is 5.4.
Yeah.
Or it was. Now they put all kinds of trick killer stuff in there. But those things last forever. I mean, like I said, there's a guy that comes in here. He's got a. His is a 2011, and he's got almost 440,000. Well, he's probably got more than that. It was 6 months ago. 440,000 miles. He drives it all the way across country, and it loves it.
Okay.
Loves it. So that's not an inherent problem in 5.
Okay.
Not at all.
That was my concern. Is there
not.
something that somebody else has probably seen?
No,
I'm learning here, guys. I'm
not at all. Not at all. No, they're great motors. They're great motors. Yeah,
right.
No, and that's like I said. That is an unusual. That's not of the norm.
Now, obviously, the thing they're most notoriously known for is breaking.
Right there. Yeah.
These spark plugs off.
Spark plug. Back in the day, when they put them in at the engine factory, when they put the engine together, they didn't use enough anti-seize on the plugs because they just basically welded themselves into the head.
Yeah.
So first time you try to get them off, they would break off right there.
And they'd break off.
Yeah.
And leave this piece stuck in the head.
Yeah.
And then I end up with pieces of this piece.
Right.
And then you got a tool to be able to pull those out.
Then most of the time you have, if it's bad enough, you got to pull the intake manifold off, and then see all the debris that's laying in there from.
Right. and that's honestly a part of the conversation to be had is what happened the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Is did they manage to break some of these? And that.
Well, they managed to break at least one.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's got motorcraft on that.
Yeah, it's got motorcraft on that. So that was probably the original plug.
Right.
So they managed to break at least one.
And where did those pieces go?
Probably went down in the hole whenever they got it
Right.
out, because that's a lot of times that's what happens. I mean, if you get a bore scope, you can check down there and see if there's any other pieces in there. The good thing about not having a modular motor is there's not a lot moves around in there in the valley.
Yeah.
So it's a good place for everything to collect.
Collect?
You don't have to worry about it, except when you take plugs out. You don't have to worry about it getting in the motor. It's not like your valve train's in there, because there is no valve train. It's
right.
motor motor. So it's you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's all under the valve covers. There's none of that stuff in the valley.
Nope, none of that stuff's in the valley.
Yeah,
all in the valley is.
It's good to collect squirrel droppings.
Yes,
and
sir.
All kinds of things.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
There's a picture of some guys is trying to bring this and it might have been Bicycle Garage, I don't remember. But he's there, and he's took an intake manifold off because it wouldn't run, and there was
I'm sure
a rat's nest in there. There was all kinds of stuff. All they need is that big area, and man, they can build a whole house down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will continue this. I will replace the rest of these. I was kind of curious if maybe, like, because you could see, like, exhaust gas, I would say, on this.
Yeah.
Is maybe were the plugs not tight? Would that have had an issue?
No. I don't think.
Otherwise, it's going to kick the plug out and rip the threads out.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this is exhaust gas. I think exhaust gas ends right there.
Okay.
I think that's just normal. That's just normal old grease.
Because this, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm learning. Ask you Ford heads what you guys have run into before. I mean, that sucker's melted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's melted everywhere. Well, because it's shooting fire
Right.
every direction there is. This became the ground over here instead of being right here. It was hitting the valves, and it was coming back here. That's why it's got all this big melt. It could be what's left of that, where that's just all melted onto it.
Right.
It could very well be that, but it's just like a welder. I mean, it's exactly what it is.
Right.
Luckily, it didn't weld that into your cylinder.
Right. And that's, I'll be honest, and I know I'm going to catch some flack about this, well, why didn't you just replace all 8 cylinders in the first place? The answer is, it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. Because if I go into one of these cylinders that's working perfectly fine, and I break one of these sumbitches, or I have a problem, I have now made a problem that was not there.
True.
That's why I'm kind of a little gun shy about this.
Yeah.
And they're not exactly the most fun to work on.
That was the same way.
Yeah.
Because once it has no direction to go to, once it has no electrode to go to, then
it just comes out and
tries
goes
to find the source.
Yeah.
And anything that's metal.
How far do these protrude into the head? Are they just
about that far?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've heard enough horror stories with these things.
Yeah.
And we have the tools to do this, but what I don't want to end up is having to pull ahead to fix a truck that I'm at this point in time still $2,500 in.
Yeah.
And then
no, that's a deal. You got a deal on that truck, because, like I said, the engine itself will last 300,000 plus miles. I know mine is, but it's for $2,500. That's a deal.
Yeah.
That's a deal.
All right.
Yeah. And it's a Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the air rod still kind of works.
Kind of works.
I do need to get new air shocks for it, probably.
Yeah.
Also, I believe they did also supercharge that 5.4.
They did.
It'll be
In
free
the
shipping.
the Raptor?
Yeah. The Raptor.
No, not the Raptor.
No, that's a 6.2. They did those trucks that Shelby put together in California. Those Shelby what do they call them? It wasn't a GT500 truck. It's a truck they built. It was a supercharged 5.4 in it, and man, those things, 750 plus horsepower.
I mean, for a tow, maybe for a tow rig.
Yeah, for a tow rig, it's not bad.
Maybe
Single turbo.
I don't think there's any room.
There's not a lot of room there.
For the amount of truck that is, there's really not a lot of room in the hood.
Yeah, there's
even changing the oil is annoying.
It is. It is.
Like
it's where
front-mounted oil filter.
It's where they decide to put the oil filter, you know, and that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's nice. In some other ways, it's a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they gave it a little like oil drain area so that it doesn't go all over the damn place.
Right.
But to get the filter off, if you don't have a filter that you can get off with an easy chunk,
right,
getting a filter wrench on there or a strap.
Yeah, most of the time you have to get it up from the front. From the top, instead of on the bottom. Because, well, it depends on how good a lift you got. The one thing about if you putting expeditions on a lift is you got to have some support in the middle of it because the frame's so long. It has a tendency to not sit straight, and it'll wobble.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll wobble. Yeah, because it's so long. It's like an excursion.
Yeah.
Excursion, man.
We've done a few of those.
Yeah, you got to do all kinds of weird shit to make it where
it's a lot of truck.
It's a lot of truck. Yeah.
I would have, and Rich actually was talking about, what you should have bought was a diesel excursion. I know a guy that's selling one. I'm like, listen, I love the diesel excursions. I think they're fantastic. It sucks that they don't exist anymore because they fit into a niche. Nothing else competes with that.
They do.
We still do tons of work on those 6-liter diesel excursions.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about maintenance costs.
Oh, yeah. Very expensive.
Like, that's not cheap.
First of all, you got to buy a truck that's not from Ohio.
Right. I got to go to Texas.
Yeah, you got to go to Texas or California to buy one because everyone that's here, the rockers don't exist on it anymore.
Yes,
and
the rockers
haven't since the year after it was built new. I mean, they're horrid.
Yeah.
They're horrid.
Yeah.
People. That's why people that have excursion bodies. I mean, just bodies in because they'll yank the diesels out and they'll put them in something else.
Yeah.
But they got decent bodies in them from Kansas or somewhere like that. They're a fortune.
Yeah.
Because
for
for the body parts.
Yeah.
Because you can't buy none of that stuff anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there was nothing, kind of same thing with like the S2000. Like when it disappeared, there was nothing to replace it. When the diesel excursion disappeared, there was nothing else out there that did. I could haul my boat and 6 of my friends in a comfortable situation without a problem.
Easily, yeah.
And still get 12 or 13 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to solve my other issue.
It'll solve that problem.
At least our shop issue.
Yeah.
You guys will have to tune in on the Lucore Automotive channel for that part. That's a bad story, full of drama. You'll see that soon on the Lucore channel if it's not already out. That's it. Easy,
cool.
Easy. Unless you got a supercharger sitting around here for a 5.4.
Nope.
Thank God. All right, let's get this man some money and get back to work. All right, boys. Let's wrap this show up. Thank you very much for watching, Terry. I always appreciate it.
You bet.
Got out of here cheap today.
Yeah, real cheap.
Can't buy lunch on me today.
Yeah, that's all right.
Let's get back to work.
I'm going to eat some barbecue tomorrow.
I think I'm going to grab some roosters on the way back to the shop.
That's cool. Roosters got good stuff.
I love me. There's one thing you can always count on me for. Is to make sure I eat well.
Yes, I've seen that about you.
All right, so thank you much.
Want that?
Appreciate it.
You bet. See ya.
All right, guys, we'll wrap this one up here. Just another trip over here to Jegs on 11th Avenue. This is the original Jegs. This is where all the magic happens. This is a retail store right in downtown Columbus. If you've never been here, if you're coming through the Columbus area, cool place to stop by and say hi. Right there is I-71. So you are right in downtown Columbus. I'm going to get back to work. Got more hot rod stuff to deal with. I think I got to get up to Bobo tomorrow to drop off my camshaft and some other stuff for him. We'll move forward on my Pontiac stuff. So see you guys next time. Take care. We'll see you. Bye-bye.